Hey guys, welcome back to the fish room. Today, we're rebuilding a shrimp tank. So just behind me here, you can see my 3 shrimp tanks. One is empty because the shrimp weren't happy, so I moved them into a guppy tank and they're actually doing great now and breeding. I haven't actually had much luck with these shrimp tanks, and although I've had them for a while, I'm just not really happy with them. They're quite small tanks and I think it's time that we rescaped one. I've got a few black cherry shrimp in this one right here, and this is the one that I want to focus on today. Seeing that it is October, I kind of want to give it a bit of a spooky theme. That's what we're going to try and do. I'm going to add some baby fish to this tank once it's rescaped to try and get the bio load up to see if I can get some breeding happening with these cherry shrimp. So let's not waste any more time, let's get started. I found these little tiny sticks at one of my local fish shops, and I think they're going to make great like spooky forest trees. We are going to have to customize them a little bit. I think that they're going to be really good in the tank. So these tanks don't have any lids on them, so I'm happy to have stuff sort of poking out the top. So yeah, first thing I got to do is catch the shrimp out. So deconstructing this tank, I'm removing all the duckweed, the moss, and finally catching all the shrimp out. I caught out a total of 6 shrimp, which is what I think I purchased in the beginning. So they're doing good in here. I mean, they're not breeding, which is an issue, but they're surviving quite well. So hopefully with this change, we'll get some breeding action. Just going to give this filter a nice squeeze in the tank before I remove the water. I'm going to use the old substrate to start as a base layer. Basically what I'm going to try and do is build up the sides of the tank so it makes it look like a little valley in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with this substrate, and then we're going to cap it with a black substrate. My thought process here is to use the old substrate that has all the beneficial bacteria still in it. It does look really muddy, but that's just because it's old aqua soil, so that's all sort of broken down and made this muddy mess. But once I cap it with the black sand, this won't be an issue. Now capping off with my black sand, I am going to try and use quite a bit of this sand to make the substrate quite deep and to give, of course, the valley a little bit more depth than it does have right now. This will also give my plants a really good anchor when I plant them, so it's always a good idea to add a little bit extra substrate to your tanks. Now for the exciting part. We are going to be adding in our little spooky forest. I'm just going to place these trees around the sides of the tank, as I sort of want it to look like a little bit of like a trail through a forest. I did end up just sawing off little pieces of these branches just to make them the right height or sort of rocky terrain feel, like boulders in a forest and sticks and things. So that's what I'm going to go for here, and yeah, I think it looks so far so good, and I really enjoyed this process actually. I had a really good time making it. I'm adding in orange gravel. I kind of want it to simulate the idea of fallen leaves. I actually think it looks really good. The contrast on the black's really nice. And the colours are definitely Halloween-y. So I am really happy with this detailing. I think it really tied it all together and just gives it like that pop of colour on the base there. So yeah, I think it's definitely a good addition if you're doing Escape, is to add in those detailing rocks as well. So planting this aquarium out, I'm just using some assorted crypts that I had from some other tanks, because I feel like it really does fit the theme, popping in some cryptocoryms, and they really do look like nice ground cover that you would find in like a foresty area. So I just place them sporadically around. As they grow, they will create more and pop up all around the wood and the rocks and things like that. So definitely think that that is the perfect. I do think that it complements the aesthetic of this particular tank. I also decided to add in 2 stems of Ludwigia just at the back to bush out, give it a little bit of a background. They are small at the moment, so they'll grow in. I just wanted to add this stem plant just to give it a little bit more of a wild look once it does start to grow out. This one also has a red leaf on it, so it'll really add colour amongst the green. Also adding in just some Java moss, because you can't go wrong with Java moss. Just adding pieces of it around the trees just to simulate like Spanish moss. Just give it that creepy vibe. Okay, so I've got the plants in now and I'm actually really happy with how this has turned out. I'm a little concerned about the wood. It might float. I have tried to glue it to some of the rocks that are around the base of it, but I don't know. I mentioned in a video previously that I don't like using the super glue, and I still don't like using the super glue. Like, it just doesn't stick and there's problems and I'm waiting and it's not working and it's more hassle. We're gonna fill it up and we're gonna see how we go. Look at how spooky. It looks really good. I'm pretty proud of myself, actually. If only I had have known. You're about to see the tank get filled up and how it all goes horribly wrong. Yeah. Okay, so it's the next day. I ended up getting really frustrated yesterday regarding the wood floating. So we're back today. I just had to walk away from it. Sometimes when you're doing a project, you really just need to walk away and try again later. This is also why it is really, really important to either glue your wood down or ensure that they are anchored down. So we're gonna fix it today. Basically gonna go in there and remove the wood, fix up my substrate a little bit because it definitely got knocked around, and then anchor them and place them back in. So I'm gonna attempt to do this while it's still there. And I think I might add some more moss to the trees as well. So ultimately, I'm actually still really happy with this scape, and it's definitely a more interesting tank now. But I do have to rejig it to make it work a little better than what I was envisioning. So let's get started on that. So deconstruction number 2. It was quite the fiasco when it all sort of came up. It lifted all of the gravel up and some plants came out. So yeah, I was a little upset when this happened, but that's okay because we're going to fix it now. So I'm just going to tidy it up a little bit, get sort of the plants back where I want them, and work on anchoring the wood down with some rocks. did end up picking up some new super glue. I did double check on their website that this is actually aquarium safe. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue 2 rocks to the base of each of the sticks to ensure that the base stays on the bottom. I'm going to show you the 2 first sticks in the front that I'm gluing, but I did do this to all of them. I actually dare say that my first placement of these sticks was slightly better than this placement, but it still gives the same effect, and I still think it's a really cool spooky vibes. Once all the trees are in, I just go around and clean up some plants, make sure that everything is in its right space, everything looks nice and is planted well, and then I need to leave it to clear up a little bit. I did disturb quite a lot in there, so it's gone all cloudy. Now after all of this, fixing it, getting it all nice, I tested the water the next day and we have an ammonia spike. So this tank has to go through a cycle again, which I'm waiting for. Now because of this, I'm unable to put a fish in it for this video, which is so sad. It's been kind of a curse from the beginning. It is a nice tank. I am very proud of it, but wow. My shrimp are currently in a little shrimp net in another tank, living their best life, having a great time. They're all swimming around doing the most. And I have got some baby CPDs that I'm going to put in here as well, but I don't want to put either of those creatures in here because they are both very sensitive and I'm fine waiting. So something that I think's not touched on a lot in this on YouTube and stuff is that sometimes with fish tanks we have to be patient. So I'm going to be patient and I'm going to let this aquarium go through a cycle, get that water quality up to perfect before I put anything in there. Here's some glamour shots of the scape. I feel a little disappointed with this scape just because of how hard it was, but it's still really cool to look at and it does make it a little nicer to walk past those shrimp tanks and see my spooky forests. I will probably upload a story when I release the shrimp and my CPD babies in there, but yeah, this is it for now, and I hope you guys enjoyed the build. I had a good time, I learned some lessons, and I'll catch you on the next one.